Hello everybody, my name is Wilder, and today I want to talk about Pokemon Let's Go, specifically Pikachu, because that's the version that I own. When Let's Go was being announced, I was one of the people sitting on Twitter obsessively refreshing and getting the information as it came in. After a few minutes, the trailer was dropped and I ran for it. I was really excited for everything I saw and I couldn't wait to learn more. What we did learn from the reveal was that we were going back to Kanto. I was still excited because even though I had been to Kanto 3 times already through Red and Blue, Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Pokemon Yellow, because yes I do count Yellow as a different experience, I would get to play a traditional Pokemon game on a home console. I loved that this game was a reimagining of Pokemon Yellow, with Pikachu and Eevee being the starters, and I loved the option to pick between the two through the different versions. I knew I was going to get Pikachu from the start only because you can't evolve either of them, which really sucks because I really wanted a Flareon because they're so fluffy. Anyway, I saw the Pokemon Go mechanics next, and I didn't mind them. I thought the idea was nice, and I understood that this was going to be a game to get people who had only ever played Pokemon Go into the main series by slowly transitioning them through this game. I understood the idea, and to this day I still support it. I think it's really good. After the reveal, I was a little upset that we didn't get anything for the next gen, but I was okay with Let's Go coming up to fill the gap. The Pokemon Go style of catching Pokemon was a big topic at the time of announcement. Everybody was talking about it. I thought it would be fun to have a more interactive way to catch the Pokemon instead of the traditional menu. However, I then heard that there would be no wild battles, and like many others, this made me quite a bit upset. I am someone who loves grinding in RPGs. I love sitting there and grinding battles for chip experience for hours and hours. I love level grinding, and Pokemon is no exception here. When I heard that I wouldn't be able to go out into the wild and grind levels for an upcoming gym, I immediately became worried. How would this affect the balance of the game? Is this actually a Pokemon game? My mind started to race with worries, and because of this, I started to hop onto the bandwagon that was the internet at the time. My excitement started to fade, and I started to become quite critical of everything that we saw and were being introduced to. Pokemon Let's Go, however, was a lesson for me, and it taught me to be more open-minded when presented with big changes to games that I love. Let me explain. I got a message from a family member before Christmas asking if there were any games on my Switch list. Now, everything I want for the Switch hasn't been released yet, so I decided to say Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Recently, I got a box of presents in the mail, and one of them was oddly Switch case shaped. This was important to me though, because I had already decided that I would be skipping this Pokemon game, and was okay with that. Even after deciding that though, I kept thinking about how I knew I would have fun with the game, despite the things I didn't like or didn't know too much about, and that's the main point of this video. I can pick apart the game all I want, but in the end I know I'll still have fun with it, and I currently am having fun with it. Anyway, I popped the game in my Switch, took those gold points, thanks Nintendo, maybe I'll be able to buy some wallpaper in a few months, and started up the game. I was immediately met with the familiar, nostalgic Pallet Town, that familiar, nostalgic music, and that familiar, nostalgic feel, with a completely new look. Speaking of, the game looks good. It looks great, even, but it does not look amazing. Nintendo decided to stick with the cartoon style for Let's Go, which is fine, but where Sun and Moon was a jump from X and Y, but with the character models, Let's Go feels like it sits somewhere in the middle of those two games. I was expecting the game to look a little more like Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness did on the GameCube, but Let's Go still looks fine. It definitely wasn't what I was expecting, but this video is all about how Pokemon Let's Go wasn't the game I was expecting. Now, the first thing I loved in this game were its cutscenes. I have all of them saved as videos in my Switch photo album. I think they're wonderful, and I definitely think they add a lot to the game in a very good way. We've been to Kanto so much already, and it's nice to see things from a different perspective. It's nice to see things as we imagined them in the originals. There are quite a few cutscenes in this game, and they all look wonderful. One in particular actually made me really sad. I won't spoil anything if you haven't seen any of them, but they're definitely worth a watch. Now I want to talk about something that's a little debated in the community about this game, and that is, it's too easy and that it's not a good thing. So I was going into Pokemon Let's Go late, which meant that I was already aware of all of its flaws, big and small. My goal was to go into this game looking for those flaws and try to eliminate them. I wanted to see if the flaws were actually holding the game back or if they were put in place for the new Pokemon audience, and could be fixed with a little time. The beginning of the game was super easy, laughably so, but I made a single change in the game later on, and it turned the entire difficulty on its head. Before I talk about that though, let's take a look at what makes this game such a breeze. First of all, the exclusion of wild battles. This is a big one because this is what ultimately made me okay with skipping out on this game. Although there are still wild Pokemon, you don't actually battle them. You just throw Pokeballs and berries at them Pokemon Go style. While this is a fun mechanic, the exclusion of wild battles is very noticeable, and it changes the game a lot more than I thought it would. The biggest change is probably Mount Moon, the most daunting trial for new Pokemon trainers. We all know the feeling of walking into Mount Moon with your 2 to 4 Pokemon all freshly healed up after your battle with Brock. You're on a high and you feel like you can do anything. You take your first step into the cave and immediately get attacked by a Zubat. You walk 10 steps and there's a trainer. You walk some more, Team Rocket. You walk a Zubat, Zubat, Zubat. It's true, that's how it happens. God. You barely make it out of that mountain alive. You know there's a town right around the corner, you smile as you clutch your fainted Pokemon tight in your arms, and then you see them. That one last trainer standing there just to try and send you back to the beginning. That story is such a favorite of so many people, and it's because it's so memorable. You felt accomplished after it, and it taught you to prepare for the trials ahead. Pokemon Let's Go does not have this. The wild battles are gone, which means that it's just trainers in Mount Moon. This makes the mountain way faster, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It may have needed to be toned down a little anyway, but I'll always love Mount Moon for what it taught players early on in the game. The next thing is how the wild Pokemon actually appear. While you're walking around in the tall grass or in a cave, the Pokemon actually appear on screen and run around until you touch them. Then you get a chance to try and catch them. Let me start off by saying I love this mechanic, and I hope it stays in the Pokemon series for a long time. Random encounters have been in games for years, and I just don't like them anymore. I think I'm getting tired of them. They make a game feel slow and sluggish. You're afraid to move anywhere if you don't have to, because you could end up going after a potion in the corner and run into 1 battle or 6. It's completely random. Personally, random encounters sometimes stop me from turning on or going back to some games, even those that I love. But the way Pokemon Go handles encounters is amazing, and reminds me of the Tales series. Not to mention that it also looks cool. I mean, there's actually Pokemon running around in the grass. You can see a Growlithe running around. It's awesome. But even after all that, there is one mechanic that makes all the others we've talked about seem like nothing, and that is the PC. The PC, a machine where you're able to store your Pokemon that you cannot carry, is now in your backpack. You can bring Pokemon in and out of your party whenever, wherever, just by going into your backpack. Now let me say this, for Pokemon Let's Go, this works. It feels good, it's nice to not have to run to the Pokemon Center to switch out Pokemon, especially with how many Pokemon you're going to be catching because of how this game works. I don't necessarily want this in the future Pokemon games, but it works with the feel and the pace of this game. It definitely makes the game a lot easier though because you have unlimited Pokemon on you. You can just switch them out after battles. I do not want this to return in the other games, but like I said, it does feel okay for Pokemon Let's Go. Now, rare candy has been in Pokemon games since the game started. However, there's more types of candy that are new to this game. There are different kinds of candy for different kinds of stats, and feeding one to your Pokemon puts whatever stat the candy gives up by 1. This really helps when you feel that your team is a little lacking somewhere, and eliminates the hassle of catching multiple of a single Pokemon just to find one with the best stats or nature. Candy does take away a lot of the number game that Pokemon is, but I like them well enough to not mind if they appear in the future. Okay, now that I've got all that out of the way, I want to talk about the one thing that I did to make the game feel harder. I put my partner Pikachu at the back of my party and only use them in emergencies. Your partner Pokemon is so strong, and they can learn moves that are so OP, and they also get special candy that increase all their stats by 3 when eaten? They're absolutely ridiculous, and ever since I put Pikachu in the back of my party, I've noticed the difficulty increase a lot. The partner Pokemon are cool, and a cute idea, but I believe that it's what's making the game way too easy for a lot of people. Try this out and see what you think. It definitely made the game more enjoyable for me, and not like I was running through every single trainer battle. Now before I continue, I want to take a quick moment to talk about the Go Park. The Go Park is new to this game, and it lets you transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Let's Go. They appear in the Go Park and you get a chance to catch them for your team. The higher their CP in Pokemon Go, the higher level they'll be in Let's Go. I'd also like to put a quick note here. I had a hard time finding this info, so take it and run with it, but Pokemon in the Go Park will not run away if you fail to catch them. They'll only leave the battle, and you can talk to them again right away and try again. So you do not have to worry about sending a Pokemon over that you do not want to lose because it ran away from the battle in Let's Go. The Go Park is really cool, mostly because it made me play Pokemon Go again, which is always a fun time. And you can also use it to get Pokemon that you can't find in either version. For example, I have Let's Go Pikachu, and I already have all the Pokemon that you can only find in Let's Go Eevee. It's a really easy way to fill up your Pokedex. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is my favorite mechanic in this game. My favorite mechanic that has been introduced in Pokemon in a long while, and I hope it appears in other games in the future. And that is the multiplayer. When I first started playing this game, my girlfriend was watching, and since she has the most knowledge of the first gen over any other, she wanted to play as well. So I handed her a Joy-Con, she shook it, and her trainer appeared. When you're playing Let's Go with a friend, a few things change. First of all battles become 2-on-1, which is pretty crazy and a little unfair, but it works the same as a double battle, just, not as balanced. Second, you both team up to catch wild Pokemon. You both throw Pokeballs, and you both have access to the bag to switch between berries and types of Pokeballs. If the two of you throw the ball at the same time and it hits the Pokemon, they both combine to make a stronger Pokeball for an easier catch. Let me just say that I have not had this much fun playing a new Pokemon game in a long while. Multiplayer was a great way to make Kanto fun to enjoy for the third time, and I hope it stays in the future games because it was my favorite new mechanic. We both had so much fun throwing Pokeballs at Pokemon and wasting Pokeballs trying to sync up our throws to get that perfect timing. It was also really fun to strategically battle difficult trainers together, or to completely just destroy a weak trainer. This is by far my favorite new addition in this game. I really hope that they continue to implement this in the new games. While there are more things I can talk about, like how your partner Pokemon can match clothes with you, I think I've hit just about every point I wanted to. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is a lot of fun, and despite all the differences or things that I wanted but didn't get out of it, the main point is that I knew I would have fun with it, and I did have fun with it. It was definitely a game I would recommend, and even if you're slightly interested in it, I know, but more importantly you know, that you would definitely have fun with it. And that is why I will give Pokemon Let's Go an 8.5 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's pretty solid. So what did you think of the game? Did you end up skipping it like I was going to, or are you having second thoughts after seeing all the gameplay of it? I'm definitely having fun with it, so if you decide to pick it up, then I hope you have fun with it too. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, I will see you in the next one.